Konnichiwa, Roxette here, and this video will be kind of like a story time because I would like to share my experience with everyone when I first went to the Philippine arena. So instead of me looking directly at a camera, I'm actually going to read the journal entry I made because I'm a nincompoop who failed to vlog a once-in-a-lifetime event, and that was the title of my journal entry. Let's get started. Stay with me till the end because there is like 1,500 words and I hope you're patient with me. I expected things to go easy breezy, also because of the high expectations I have when it comes to church activities organized by the central office directly. But the morning of July 26 was just devastating after receiving a call from my father at 6 a.m. to tell us that our cat Rain, whom we had less than a week, succumbed to feline parvovirus. Hearing your old man, the person you expect to be the toughest, cry first thing in the morning, that's just heartbreaking. It would have been better if I wrote this while the memory was much more fresh in my mind because the first waiting part from the central temple to the arena were flashes of long lines and drizzles. What was fake, however, was the bus that I rode with my mom and grandma was with the choir group that my mom's eldest sister led in. During the journey, all I did was snooze because I anticipated it might be my last exposure to air conditioning for a while. True. I opened my eyes to the oohs and ahs at the side of the Philippine arena. I wish I could write every single boring detail, but alas, my limitations of having a short attention span is unfortunate to this situation. Although the newly planted trees at the soon-to-be filled pavements reminds me of the scene where I get amazed at my discovery of instant ulam, because I was used to canned food or packed lunches. Things start to get interesting when I decided to go into my own world and separated from my company. Real interesting. On the top of the staircase towards the main entrance on the left side, there was an isolated shrub where I decided to camp. Supposedly together with my company, but apparently no one had any idea about that. I sat and waited there, hoping they knew where I stayed and come to me, or at least for me. Nope. A few hours later, I found myself sitting with 2 chairs at a compound crowded with 2 million people. With that number at a small area, the cell phone satellites are sure to be busy, so getting in contact with my family was a lost cause. All there was left to do is pray and hope for the best. Being alone isn't very new to me. I just wish I wasn't surrounded with a sea of strangers because my anxiety and phobias will surely attack me. A public area is definitely not the place to get a mental breakdown. There was a mature lady with 2 youngsters, a girl with a guy I assumed to be her brother called Trevor. They seemed to be Filipino brethren who were registered in a foreign country, judging from their English accents. They stayed with me as the elder lady sat on my extra chair, where they waited like everyone else to enter the arena. It rained and it shone. Short episodes of sheltering one another with my folding umbrella and fanning with anything flat to cool down from the humidity. I discovered that they were like VIP brethren with special seats and was allowed special entrance earlier than the regular brethren. They invited me to go along with them, and naturally I would have in a heartbeat, but before I even reached Sisto, I had to politely decline because I wanted to hold on to the hope that I will be reunited with my family, which very much later on I regret very much because I was ridiculed by my family for not doing so. Wow. I finally decided to get up with my backpack and attempted to look for my sister, who was part of the Centennial Choir, and when swimming through crowds, often scolded for shoving and pushing, I had breathing difficulties. I did find my sister, but we also had to part ways because I was still not granted entrance despite the situation, and she had to be inside the arena. Luckily, a group of brethren who were camped inside the compound invited me to rest inside their tent for a while to take a rest as they saw me walking in the rain, on the verge of tears like some distressed character in a drama, and offered me something to eat and drink before sending me to the first aid for assistance. Inside the tent clinic, I realized it was already 9 p.m. and was in dire need to go to the bathroom. There was no way I would make it to the portable toilet, for the line was at least 50 people long. Also, my physical body will not be able to handle the horror, if you catch my drift. The scan lady helped me out to do it in the grass. Thank God it was dark, because I swear there was a man in the proximity while I was exposed. TMI, sorry, but I don't want to miss out on any details. The lady then requested an ambulance to help me go to the place where lost people can be announced on microphone to receive help in returning with their company. Inside the ambulance, it was air conditioned and it greatly helped soothe my anxiety, but the paramedic gave me shade, telling me that it's not a taxi or a shuttle service. I didn't want to seem rude, but in my mind, I felt like responding, "Would you prefer if I was unconscious from an asthma attack or breaking out in hives from my multiple skin conditions?" Which, of course, I did. And just apologized for the inconvenience of the situation since I understood what they had to deal with. In the end, I still couldn't find the place I wanted to go and went back to square one, the bonsai shrub at the main entrance. 12 p.m. turned into 12 a.m. At this time, the amount of people at the area tripled, making it almost impossible to climb the stairs. Although I did come across brethren from Malaysia there and was grateful to see familiar faces. Apparently, the news of my disappearance also reached them. The power of Filipino social communication and networking. And told me to stay with them. It was at this time that the fireworks display happened, but I couldn't fully enjoy myself as my mind was preoccupied with something else. In the crowd, I saw my grandma, but an obnoxious boy with a handsome face was mocking me, to which I just rolled my eyes at. We were finally reunited and together we entered the arena. Assuming our seats were close to each other, I ran to our nearest hall entrance to use the bathroom and change my clothes. But unfortunately, again, no one shared my thoughts, and they used a different hall entrance and bathroom. I was separated. Again. At least I had a bathroom stall to myself, the stall used by cleaning personnel, so no one would line up behind me. I freshened myself up as much as possible to prepare for the worship service. By 2 a.m., I finally found myself seated at the main auditorium. Alone, since the seating numbers were not necessarily needed to be followed, I sat close to the balcony to get a view of the pulpit where the executive minister will officiate. There was a screen that showed a documentary of the church's history, and I found myself knocking out on my seat as the suffocating heat outside transformed into a winter wonderland inside the arena. I stood by my sister with air conditioning designed by a professor she knew at her university, New Era. When I woke up around 6 a.m., it was just in time for the worship service. I gave my thanks and participated in hymn singing despite not having any idea what the new hymns were. By the time of the lesson, I was purely starstruck because of Ka Eduardo's presence. Fighting the urge to sleep, I paid attention to the lesson and internally laughing at the other brethren who were also at war with their wills to stay awake. After the blessed service finished at 9 a.m., we were given a break and was allowed to have a meal. Because I live under a rock, I failed to recognize some of the famous ministers and brethren who attended. Also, did you know my mom bumped into James Reid in the arena? Wow. We actually had tickets for the oratorio, but my mom decided to go home before the traffic gets heavy. But our bus leaves with everyone else and she didn't know this, so we missed it and had to stay outside again. Walking with my wedges and the white dress, it was hours of sun-exposed torture for me. We were sitting occasionally, but mostly searching for the bus terminal. By the time we did, it was 3 p.m. Despite the terrible condition my skin was in, I fell asleep in the bus feeling like a lobster. God is always kind. We reached home safely and even got a full-body Swedish massage. All's well that ends well. I hope you enjoyed this rather long story time. I hope all is well with you. Till next time.